AITA for shouting at my ex in front of my daughters. I, a 37-year-old man, have 3 daughters, ages 8, 10, and 12. When our youngest was around 4 years old, their mother abandoned us for another guy. My ex, on the other hand, remains in touch and pays child support. I saw red stains on my oldest underpants a few weeks ago while washing laundry. When I questioned whether she was aware of it, she sobbed and said she attempted to contact her mother, but my ex didn't return her call. She'd been cramming toilet paper into her underpants in the hopes that it might help. I explained to her that menstruation is nothing to be embarrassed of, and I discovered some fantastic resources online for us to go through together. I went her to the shop to choose the brands of feminine products she preferred. She chose Playtex Sport since she is a gymnast. After we were through, I decided to do the same with my other 2. My 12-year-old offered to help with the preparations, and we made a night of it. It was lovely, and I learned a lot. I also learned about menstruation cups and how they help the environment. My ex phoned me back the other day. I'll generally set up a video chat and leave the room so they can have some alone time, and then I'll come back in to speak about boring co-parenting topics like school, bills, and so on. My ex was enraged with me the previous time we spoke about periods with the girls. She yelled at me that I was sick, and why didn't I contact her myself if I knew it was so urgent? I could have phoned one of their grandmas/aunts, but my mother has dementia, and her mother and sisters call me a failure since I teach kindergarten, so I don't like them. My ex told me I was being immature and that I should have simply toughed it out for the sake of the girls. This really irritated me, so I yelled back that maybe if she wasn't such a slacker and answered her phone once in a while, she could have handled it. I brought up everything she does that bothers them. She hasn't been to a single soccer game, piano recital, or gymnastics meet in 2 years, and every other weekend when they get home from her house, they go straight to their rooms, only to emerge hours later asking me why she loves her new husband more than them, and what they did to make her leave. My ex replied by stating I should tell them it's not their fault I couldn't please her, to which I yelled "you," to which she just laughed and pointed behind me, adding, "Look what you done." When I turned back, my 8-year-old and 10-year-old were bawling at the doorway. It crushed my heart since I never yelled, so I knew I terrified them. My 12-year-old walked in and began yelling at her mother, and although I appreciate her standing up for me, this is not a war I want her to wage. My ex hung up before I could properly de-escalate the situation. So let's just say the girls have had free reign of the ice cream and infinite hours of video games because I'm so sorry. Don't tell me I don't love them because I saw all of the Twilight movies with them. But in this case, AITA for yelling. Update: the girls were at their mother's house last weekend. My 12-year-old requested to speak with me privately after she left them off Sunday night. We went into her room, and she showed me 2 recordings she'd taken on her phone. One of my ex convincing them I was abusing them, and one of her and her husband arguing about how much child support she was paying, and I'll be honest, my cousin is a family court lawyer, and she basically raked her over the coals. Even though it wasn't attractive, I was nonetheless deeply upset by the affair. I'd even received alimony. Anyway, my 12-year-old informed me she didn't want to go to her mother's house anymore, but she felt she had to since she's the eldest child and it's her responsibility to protect the younger siblings. I've always instilled this value in her. I'm the eldest kid, but seeing this made me even more sad since it's just another struggle she shouldn't be waging. She's also only recently discovered that her mother cheated on her, and over the last few weeks she's bombarded me with questions about the timeline of their relationship that I couldn't really answer, and after showing me the recordings, she literally demanded that I answer her yes or no. Did her mother cheat on me? It wasn't easy, but I told her the truth and asked her not to tell her sisters, as much as it sucked. That's my responsibility, not hers. The way she sobbed on my shoulder was the most devastating thing I'd ever seen, but she was catching on, and I reasoned that she was going to find out anyhow. She should do it in a setting where she felt safe. After she had finished sobbing, I asked her to send me the recording she had made and then contacted my cousin. We've just begun the paperwork, but my cousin is certain that we'll be able to charge my ex with parental alienation, and because she earned a promotion a few months ago, I should be able to renegotiate the child support payments as well. Most significantly, the recording should be sufficient to provide me permission for only monitored visits, which is exactly what I want. I still want the girls to have a connection with their mother, particularly since the younger 2 want to see her. But I'll have to make sure I'm there at all times while they're with her. Kids, co-parenting is a lot of fun. Anyway, I'd want to express my heartfelt gratitude to everyone who has left encouraging remarks and letters. I just recently noticed the majority of the DM because I use the Reddit as Fun app on my phone, which for some reason does not display chatroom messages. My most valuable work skill is herding 5 yos, so I'm not the greatest with technology, but I wouldn't exchange it for anything else. Thank you for all of your help, Reddit. Story 2. AITA for wanting to bring my girlfriend as a date to my sister's wedding instead of one of the groomsmen. Please aid me and let me know whether my request is feasible. Thank you in advance. My sister's wedding is in 5 weeks on Saturday, and I'm looking forward to it. I'll be serving as a bridesmaid. My understanding of being a bridesmaid was reinforced when it became clear to me I would have to accompany one of our groomsmen down the aisle, stand next to him in several photographs, and eat at a table with him and the other bridesmaids/men grooms on our wedding day. It's not a problem. Because I'm in a relationship, I assumed my girlfriend would be invited or that I would be able to bring her along as a guest. The invitations were sent out last week, but my partner was not invited, and I was not given the opportunity to bring a guest with me. When I conveyed this to my sister, she informed me that one of the groomsmen, I'll refer to him as John, is my date for the wedding. She told me that John was single at the time, so it made sense for us to couple up and go on one another's dates together. Getting a +1 isn't about saving money for me. It's about having a good time. For my wedding, my parents are spending at least $7,000 to $5,000, and the expenses have increased significantly over the preparation phase. There will be no out-of-town or destination weddings at this time. My sister desired a beachfront site, but the one she discovered was more than $20,000 in price. A +1 was given to the maid of honor, best man, and all other bridesmaids and groomsmen, as well as to every other guest in the wedding party. In addition, none of the other members of the bridal party are married, and the whole guest list was not confined to spouses solely. This took me completely by surprise. As soon as I showed my sister a photo of the dress my girlfriend had purchased for the wedding a few months prior, her exact words were, "I can't wait to see her wearing it." She couldn't even have the decency to inform me that I would not be receiving a +1 and that my girlfriend would not be attending. I discovered the truth when I got the invitation. No personal animosity against John exists between us, but I've never met him, and as a lesbian, I don't date men. For the last 15 years, I've been on the road. I had invited a young lady to my prom. Pride marches were something my parents and sister had previously taken me to see. My partner of 3.5 years has been welcomed with open arms to all of our family gatherings and holidays. Everyone knows I'm gay, and it's never been a source of contention for me, but it seems to be so at this point in time. In response to my sister's dissatisfaction, my parents sat me down and explained that while they are fronting the money, they are not involved in the planning, and that my sister can do whatever she wants. I was reminded that it is her day, not mine, and that demanding changes to the guest list is self-centered. I'm still in disbelief that this has happened, despite the fact that I'm a bridesmaid, and it would be difficult to find a replacement in less than 6 weeks. I don't want to spoil the wedding by refusing to go. My uncertainty is heightened by my sense of guilt. Regardless of what my sister and father say, I feel it to be homophobic in nature. It occurred to me that it was inappropriate of me to suggest that my sister add one extra spot to the guest list.